the first king of Italy is buried here. This, guys, is what a good workplace situation can do to business. Pretty unassuming from outside, but an absolute work of art inside. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome after this summer break that we took, after the time off that we enjoyed. We are back, rested and energized with tons of new travel vlogs for you. And we are beginning this new season, let's call it new season, in a wonderful town of Ivrea in Piedmont. I love this region so much. This lovely town is surrounded by the mountains, and I'm really curious to see what we can find here, what we can show you. So yes, without further ado, guys, I remind you to subscribe if you're new here. We have so many amazing travel vlogs from wonderful places for you ahead. And yes, join me, let's go, let's discover Ivrea together. Come with me.
Ivrea, a quaint mountain town surrounded by the lakes, is located less than an hour drive from Turin. However, you can instantly feel the change in the atmosphere with its calmer, slower pace of life and more rural feel. It has been inhabited since the Neolithic era, with Celts being the first to build their villages in the area. However, the actual development began, of course, with the Romans around 100 BC, even leaving some landmarks we can admire today.
By the way, guys, speaking of Piermont, you know, we've been here before. We filmed a video in Turin last year, and the architecture here is not quite similar to the one in Turin, which is interesting. You know, they're very nearby, and historically, geographically, it's the same region. And even though the architecture here is pretty different from the rest of Italy, I wouldn't say that it's very similar to the architecture of Turin. And if you haven't seen my vlog from Turin, I will leave you a link up here, and I highly recommend you to go and watch it after this video, because Turin is splendid and you absolutely have to include it in your next trip to Italy. And yeah, go watch the video to learn why. Guys, to give you some context, we are filming it 2 days before the Ferragosto, which is the 15th of August, and it is actually a religious holiday here in Italy. It's the Assumption of Mary, but both religious Italians and non-religious Italians regard this holiday as one of the biggest of the year. Why, you'd ask me? Because it's the vacation season. I think pretty much everybody's on vacation right now, and you can probably see this, guys, is one of the main streets of Ivrea, and it's absolutely empty. The city is deserted. You know, majority of shops here are closed, shut down literally, and you can often see this sign saying that they're on holidays, and these holidays often last until the end of August. This is absolutely crazy, but this is the thing in Italy. You will actually see more of rare travelers, hey there, than the locals. Locals flee the cities. It happens in Bologna as well. It happens everywhere around Italy, and I suppose most people are either in the mountains or at the beach right now. But we're here filming in Ivrea, and it feels so strange and even a little bit eerie, you know, to be walking here, these empty streets, and very often we are the only people here. And it's so weird. Also, a tip for you guys, if you happen to visit Italy in August, keep in mind that not only the shops are closed, but restaurants and coffee shops and bars are also very often be closed in August, and you'll have to look for a place to have lunch, basically, as it happened to us, because the Google Maps might be lying to you. We found a lovely place where we wanted to have lunch, and the Google Maps said it was open today, but it was closed for the holidays. So keep that in mind, guys. And if you're visiting bigger cities like Bologna or Rome or Florence, obviously the city center will be full of travelers and all the shops and restaurants will be functioning there. But if you're visiting smaller cities and towns, keep that in mind and be prepared. Ivrea, guys, has its very own Ponte Vecchio. Rings a familiar bell? That might be because you've been to Florence or watched one of my vlogs from Florence. And if you haven't, I will leave you a link to my playlist with numerous videos from Florence, so go watch it after this video. However, as I said, Ivrea has its own Ponte Vecchio, but it is actually way older than the one in Florence. Ponte Vecchio translates as the old bridge, and this one dates back to the Roman times because obviously Romans have been here, and it dates back to the 3rd century AD. How ancient is this bridge? Guys, I love it about Italy. You can find landmarks and these architectural landmarks from all the eras. If you want to get different updates on our travels and tips and sometimes just random facts about life in Italy, make sure to follow me on Instagram. Make sure to come say hi and be the first ones to be updated on everything that's going on. The history of Ivrea is so closely linked to the entire family of Olivetti, and you probably know the famous typewriters and calculators Olivetti, and they were in fact produced here in Ivrea on the local factory that belonged to the Olivetti family, the natives of this city. Camillo Olivetti was the first one to establish the factory, and then his son Adriano basically transformed it into the empire as it was known back then in the past century. But why they were so famous? Not only for the production of the famous typewriters, but also for creating one of the first in Italy cases of workplace welfare. And it was the work of Adriano, who took very great care of his employees, building houses for them, literally building housing for his employees, but also introducing things like the work cafeterias and kindergartens for the kids of his employees, and flexible hours so that they can work flexibly and spend more time with their families. Work-life balance in Italy has existed for a very long time, and I think even today Italians try to achieve this work-life balance, even though they might not always manage to, although I think everyone aspires to do so. And yes, this is another reason why the Olivetti Empire was so successful and so famous. By creating this kind of a welfare in the workplace, the Olivetti family managed to increase the production rates tremendously. Some people even say that their production rates increased up to 500%. Can you just imagine? This, guys, is what a good workplace situation can do to businesses. A curious fact, guys, in this house there used to live the grandfather and great-grandfather of Adriano Olivetti, and today you can find the shop of his vintage typewriters here and even buy one for yourself, when it's open, of course. Guys, can you see this unusual fountain? It is actually a fountain, not a waterfall, but it looks like a waterfall. And this fountain actually highlights the importance of the Olivetti family and the Olivetti Empire to Ivrea, because it is dedicated to Camillo Olivetti, the father of Adriano and the founder of the Olivetti factory. Guys, how many entrepreneurs around the world have been granted such an honor to have the fountain dedicated to them in their birthplace and their birth city? I'm in awe. I'll show you something, guys, that normally you don't even, pay attention to. Like these golden stepping stones that you can find not only in Ivrea but all around Italy in many cities here. And these stones are usually placed in front of the buildings where there used to live families, just normal people, but it just happened so that they were Jewish. And here on these stones you can find their names, their dates of birth, when they were arrested, and when and to which camp they were sent. And it's pretty chilling because you just normally walk by without an idea of what was happening here years ago, and then if you glance down, you'll see these stones, and there will be numerous of them all around the country, but also, as you know, all around Europe. Guys, reinforcing my point that you can stumble upon incredible masterpieces, art masterpieces on every corner in Italy. We've just stumbled upon this church, pretty unassuming from outside, but an absolute work of art inside. Come with me and I'll show you. Guys, when visiting this area, I highly recommend you to get a car because so many incredible places are located out of the cities. Like here, for example, we are in the castle of Masino, which is located about 20 minutes drive from Ivrea, and I highly recommend you to visit it for numerous reasons. The castle itself was built in the 11th century, and most importantly, was inhabited all the way up to 1988, when the then owner died and her son donated the castle to the local association as a museum, and now you can visit it, obviously not for free. You'll have to buy a ticket for 15 euros if it's not reduced, if you're not a student or just a child, you know. But it's so worth it, not only for the lavish interiors of the castle, but also because the first king of Italy is buried here in the chapel. And you might think now, especially if you're interested in the Italian history, that I'm referencing to probably the Savoy or, you know, the times of the Italian unification, but nope, I'm referencing to the first king of Italy who was proclaimed in 1002. Right, he reigned in the 11th century. I'm talking about the King Arduino, who lived in this area in Ivrea, not in this castle obviously, but still in this area. And in 1002 he was proclaimed the King of Italy by a group of people opposing the imperial dominion. And he reigned technically for 12 years, although in reality it was more like only 5 years, because he was defeated in 1007 and then he spent the rest of his life hiding in different castles, and then his last years were spent in the monastery, and he died in 1015. Arduino was buried in the same monastery despite during his life having numerous tensions with local bishops and having been excommunicated twice. Fast forward a couple of centuries, and in the 18th century, the archbishop of this area discovered that Arduino was buried beneath the altar as if he was a saint, and he considered that he could have been venerated as a saint there, and so he ordered for Arduino's remains to be buried somewhere else, not even in the cemetery. However, one of the monks in that monastery spied on bishop's people and found where the remains of Arduino were buried then, and told about the location to a certain Count d'Allier, who was very proud to be tracing his lineage back to Arduino. He considered himself a descendant of Arduino, and when he found out the place where he was buried, he reburied him once again in his castle. Not here yet, but I'll get to this place as well. A couple of years after that, the castle of Count of Allier passed to the Savoy, who didn't really care about Arduino's remains, and so, you know, the Allier family and other families who considered themselves the descendants of Arduino were very worried about it. Luckily, there was a certain countess who was a lover of Count of Masino, and we are finally getting to this castle, learned about this tragic story of Arduino's remains and bought them from the Savoy family. That's how in the 18th century Arduino's remains finally found peace in this castle's chapel. that's it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. I hope that you enjoy Ivrea and the wonderful castle that we visited today. I love this day, even though it's super hot right now. I actually hope that when this video comes out, it won't be as hot in Italy. And I highly recommend you to visit this region, to visit Piedmont, to visit Ivrea. Maybe don't do it in August, maybe choose a cooler season of the year, but still, even today on this hot day, Ivrea was absolutely lovely. As always, guys, I remind you to subscribe, hit the bell button down below so you don't miss anything. We have a lot of travel vlogs planned for you, not only Italian but also international, but of course, as usual, there will be plenty of Italian content as well. So hit the like button, comment, share this video with your friends, and don't forget to hit the thanks button down below if you want to support my channel. You can also buy me or my team a coffee by following the link in the description box. And thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for watching our videos. I will see you very, very soon, and please have a wonderful day.